Thanks for the question. So search, communication, financial literacy, and likability. Why are these the four core in order generalizable skills that I recommend for career acceleration and even before you start your career? These are going to help you as a student as well. Let me start with financial literacy. I think it's easy to show why it's more important than likability for your career. Likability will help you get a job, but will it help you get a job that's right for you in your career trajectory? You can't evaluate this without having some level of financial literacy. So career selection is a financial literacy problem. Does that make sense? If you're highly likable and not financially literate, you can easily find yourself being taken advantage of. Even likability itself is partially trainable. So EQ is largely a trainable skill rather than something that's genetically communicated, in contrast to IQ. So the name EQ is a bit of a misnomer. But to develop the skill set of likability, to develop any skill set, you need to have prior search skills. So search skills include all of your educational skills. So anytime that you're learning anything, a hard or a soft skill, this is a matter of having meta skills, including search skills, the ability to learn. So search skills are not just this narrow, like, I know how to use Google. It's much, much more than that. It's being able to select your education provider and being able to compare and contrast, like, why should I go to this university or that university? You see how we're already dealing with search and financial choices? Financial literacy itself is going to depend on having prior search skills. Likability, some of that will be innate. Likability is only partially trainable, partially controllable. This includes all aspects of the halo effect, including things like appearance, which we can partially deal with. You can get a good haircut, but some of appearance is going to be genetically endowed. So that's going to be limited in what you can do there. The parts that are developable depend on prior search skills in order to develop them effectively. How do you know that you're following the best practices in your tone of voice, which is a contributor to likability? Following the best practices means finding them, means having search skills. Do you see how search is prior to all skills that you will ever have downstream, unless you just accidentally acquire a skill? But any intentional attainment of any skill, any intentional attainment of a skill is going to depend on search skills. It's literally the skill set that lets you pick out and grow and learn. And why is communication so important? Imagine someone who knows everything, but they can't communicate. That person probably won't get a job. So you need to be able to deploy those skills that you've acquired. And this is communication. Communication, again, is not just a narrow being able to speak, although being able to speak is actually huge. And many, many engineers that I know have trouble getting a job because despite their technical skills, they can't communicate verbally well. But this is also going to include written communication, and this is also going to include nonverbal and media-based communication. So building a thing, distributing software is a matter of communication. So if you build a portfolio and you send that portfolio to someone and they use it, you're actually communicating with them. So I want you to think in broader terms what we mean by communication here. Anytime that you are exuding information, you're communicating. So search means I'm acquiring information. Communication is I'm exuding information. And that two-way transaction is what's going to allow me to be observed as someone who will be like a desirable employee. Or if I go the entrepreneurship route, I'm going to need to be able to market. And so the skill set is really important there. So if you have search, communication, and financial literacy, you can actually go the entrepreneurship route, build something, sell it, make money, and grow a career even if you're not particularly likable. Although having likability will significantly help. So again, my advice here is to have all four. My advice is not to avoid likability. And the other thing I want to say is that the absence of likability is not quite the same as the presence of dislikability. If you're proactively being a jerk, this is going to be a much bigger problem than if you're someone who's doing a lot of the expected things, but you happen to be less attractive. Or you're doing a lot of the expected things, but you haven't really studied how to manage tone of voice. That's more of an advanced skill. So I think you can get by with having likability in fourth place. And thanks for the question. Thanks for the comment. I hope this was helpful. If you have other thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Maybe there's something in your comment that I'm missing. Definitely social networking is really important. But in my mental model, social networking, I need to reach out first, and then I can optimize how I reach out is a second step. So in that mental model, communication is first and likability is a second step. This is how I'm thinking about that. Hope that gave you some more detail.